Let's learn how to create a SchoolAI space. Start by navigating to schoolai.com and then look for the sign in button. Either create an account if you don't have a SchoolAI account already, or click sign in down here at the bottom if you already have an account. Once you're signed in, look for the navigation menu over on the left and find the button that says create a space. There are several ways to create a space, but my favorite is what you would maybe call the old school version by clicking create from scratch. And then you choose what type of space you're creating, whether it is for students or for teacher PD or for a staff reason. I'm going to choose student learning. At this point, you're going to give your space a title. I want to create a space to help my students unpack what they have learned about Impressionist art. So we are going to name it Impressionist Art. We're going to give it a subtitle. We're going to choose a grade level. And then I'm going to scroll down to the prompt. This is where the magic happens. The prompt is where you're going to give the space any instructions as to what content to focus on, what learning goal you want to hit, what to ask students, what to not ask students, etc. You can be as long and detailed with your prompt as possible, or as short and succinct as one sentence. For this example, I am going to do a very simple prompt. The prompt is, the goal is to help students learn the characteristics that identify art from the Impressionist movement. At this point, I go over to the right and I click the preview button. This allows me to see and interact with the space just as students would interact with the space. I will read what the AI prompts and I will start responding here just as if I'm a student. At this point, I'll determine if the space is doing what I want it to do and reaching the goal I want it to reach. If it's not, I will go back over to the prompt over on the left and I will edit the prompt, maybe add to it, clarify anything that the AI is doing or not doing that I want it to change. Once I have it exactly how I want it, I scroll down and I choose generate to generate the publishing details like the description of the space, what students will see. You can always edit them once you generate them, but basically the AI is using the prompt and the title that you gave it to generate it for you. I will make sure the visibility is set the way that I want. If you have students that don't have SchoolAI accounts, you want to make sure it says anyone with the link. Then one final step, I scroll back up to the top and I need to add an image. Click add image. You can add a custom image, but I just hit generate image. And again, the AI will use the title and the prompt to create an image that matches the space. Once you have the image you want, you'll just click Save Changes. One final note, there is an option if you scroll down to add custom resources that your space will use to generate its answers. That is with the Add Files option right here. You can also add a standard, and it has most, if not all, of the state standards in here that you can choose from. And then that gives the AI just a little bit more information about exactly what the goal is for this space. At this point, my space is all ready to publish. So up in the top right corner, I'm going to choose Save and Continue. That takes you to this screen. This is basically where you have all of the controls for your space. If you are ready to launch a space session for your students, then you're going to click Preview and Launch. At this point, you can name the session whatever you want. This is really important if you're going to use this space multiple times, say with multiple different groups of students or classes of students. You might want to put the date, the period number in the title so that you know which session is from which group of students or which day that you were using it. And then you're going to choose, do you want to share this space via a link and a QR code? Or if you use Google Classroom, you can also send the space directly to a Google Classroom assignment. I'm going to do share link for class, and then I'm going to choose launch down at the bottom. At this point, the space gives you a join code, so you can always send students to schoolai.com/join and put in the specific code. You can also click and copy this QR code if you have mobile devices in your classroom. Spaces work really well on mobile devices, so they can just open up the camera on their device, they scan that code, and it takes them right to the space. Or you can click copy join link up here at the top. If you use a learning management system other than Google Classroom, you could post that copy link in your learning management system. You could send this via email. However it is that you are sharing out links with your students, you would essentially paste that link in that location. At this point, I always click on View Mission Control. That is essentially the teacher dashboard for that session. I don't have any data in my teacher dashboard because I haven't had any students interacting and using this space yet. But as soon as students start interacting in the space, it will start loading data here and I'll start to get insights. It will have the list of students. I'll be able to view their chats, pause their chats. It'll group them into groups based upon the conversations that they're having. It will pull insights over here on the right. And that's it. That's how simple it is to create a School AI space.